If you want to be more efficient and effective while experiencing more inner peace, then working on the core of your issues instead of putting on a Band-Aid is vital. Welcome to LifePix University podcast. I'm your host, Esty Rapport, and here to help you improve your 28 cognitive functions, the 28 things that make up thinking. In each episode, we'll discuss a real-life challenge, why you might be struggling with it, and give you practical strategies so all areas of your life will improve. There are about 64 billion ways to plan your way the best way. But which way is really the best way? The best way is the way that works for your brain. That's coming up next on LifePix University podcast, episode 368. But first, if you want to take your cognitive functions up a notch, if you want to really improve them so your life is productive and you could be efficient and effective without thinking too hard about it because it just happens naturally, head over to lifepixuniversity.com/coaching. So it's LifePix, P-I-X, university.com/coaching. Now, for today's real life challenge, imagine it's the end of a really long day. You look down at your to-do list and you realize you only got 2 things done. In last week's episode 368, we spoke about the cognitive function of having a need to make a plan. Cognitive functions are the skills that make thinking, and one of them is having a need to make a plan. When we combine these cognitive functions together, we get what is called a mental operation, which is essentially your daily tasks like making a plan. So here are some of the cognitive functions you need to make a plan. And if any of these are weak, you might be struggling with making a plan. So obviously the first one is having a need to make a plan. Number 2 is aware of time. 3 would be understanding reality. 4 is categorizing. 5 is summing up. 6 is projecting virtual relationships. And there are a few more. Those are just some of the cognitive functions you need to be able to make a plan. So instead of getting mad at yourself and being frustrated that you have a hard time making a plan, improve those cognitive functions and making a plan will be so much easier. Okay, there's actually even a few more, but I'm not going to bore you with random names that you don't know about. You have to notice them in yourself. Actually, if you didn't take the assessment at lifepixuniversity.com/CF, that's LifePix, P-I-X, university.com, CF for like cognitive functions, you'll be able to see right there which ones are strong, which ones are weak. So you won't even need me to tell you. Okay, but we are not going to go into the cognitive functions part of making a plan because every person has different weak cognitive functions and need to improve different ones. Instead, I'm just going to give you a few things to keep in mind when you are creating a plan, even now, until your cognitive functions are really strong. So that way you could plan your day in a way that your brain could actually follow. Okay. 4 super important things to keep in mind. Ready? Number 1 is awareness. You know I was going to start with that, okay? You've got to understand your brain. You've got to understand your strengths. You've got to understand your weaknesses, and you have to work together with them. Be conscious about what is working and what isn't. Literally just be aware. It's a skill, a super important skill you want to develop if you want to make any changes. Number 2, another thing to really keep in mind is family or other important responsibilities. When you're planning your day, make sure to keep in mind your family routines or other obligations you have. For example, if your kids come home from school at 3:00 and you want to be there for them, you want to make sure you are planning accordingly. Be careful here. You don't want to say, I can't do anything and can't build my business. I can't grow what I want to do. I can't do what I want to do because I have these 100 responsibilities. Rather, flip it. Say, I am taking responsibility for my responsibility, and then see how you could become creative. What can you delegate? What can you do differently? Who else can you be involved in this? How can you rearrange schedules that you've done in the past so that way you now have the time to do what you want to do? It takes creativity. It takes actually strong cognitive functions, but most of all, it takes the growth mindset in order to be able to do it. It's all about being proactive, right? Okay. Number 4, This is a really good one. What habits and routines can you create so your life is more productive? Okay. When my dad had a spinal injury, fell off a bike and became paralyzed from his neck down, then I spent lots of time, many, many nights in the rehab with him while he's going through all his treatment of HBO and everything. Now, I am a real morning person and I do all my work in the morning. So when I would come back from the rehab, I would be super tired, right? Because not always slept and and things like that. So what I did was I created a really simple routine that I could follow no matter what time I came back, no matter what time of the day it was. Cause like it was always morning for me because it was after the night in the rehab. And that way I could go and get work done. Shower, change, prayer, post TikToks, coffee, and work. Get my most important task done. That way my brain knew like this was the pattern and this is how I'm going to get my work done. Now, brings me to my fourth point is always do your most important tasks first, because as the day goes on, more things happen. Life gets busier, right? More action things and just less time. There's less time of day. It's getting closer to night. So get your most important tasks done so that way, it's done. And also, by the way, it makes you feel so good that you're like, oh my God, I got this done, right? Like I'm right now recording this at 9:43 in the morning because it is my most important task of the day. See, doing it while I'm talking to you. So you make sure you do your most important tasks as early as possible in your day. In this episode, we discussed key points to keep in mind when you're planning your day so that way it works for you. Awareness, your responsibilities, creating habits and routines, and doing your most important task first. Your challenge this week is to plan your day every single day the night before using these points. See what it does for your brain. And like I said, as you improve your cognitive functions, being able to plan will improve so much more. If you're specifically struggling with the cognitive deficiency of time, you may also want to check out episode 353. Yes, I know it's called How to Be Punctual, but really, essentially, it's working on your cognitive deficiency of time, and it will help you also with this because they're all intertwined. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
That's all for this episode of the LifePix University podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with 2 of your family and friends so they too can gain from it, and you'll be helping us reach our goal of 1 million downloads by the end of 2025. Have an awesome rest of your day and grow those dendrites.